Good morning everyone. Welcome to Market Voice. In this series, we are trying to look into some of the wisdom available elsewhere and trying to map those knowledge or wisdom or experience into our trading activities. As part of that effort, we have identified some of the warfield wisdom or the treaties as written by one of the very ancient Chinese warrior by name SunTzu, who wrote all of his experience into war treaties in the book called The Art of War. So we try to whenever I read that book, The Art of War, I felt most of these information are relevant for our trading activities also even today. So I thought, why not pick up some of these warfield wisdom and map it to our trading activity and see how we can make use of these worthy knowledge base into our trading endeavor. So as part of that, we will be doing few of the episodes with the help of the Art of War book and see which wisdom is relevant even today for our trading activities and how we can make use of them in our day-to-day work. So if you see the book The Art of War, it has got 13 chapters. This book has about 13 chapters and very small treatises, aphorisms. It doesn't have a very detailed explanation. It just comes as sutras. If you see any sutras in our ancient literature also, sutras says the truths. It doesn't have any explanation why it is. It just gives you the end result of the truths. Very similar to that, these aphorisms are the truths that needs to be kept in mind and just not contest it or not ask the question why. We just have to follow them initially, and over a period of time, as we keep following those rules, it will dawn upon us why these are the truths of life. The problem with today's generation is they want an explanation for what they have to do. They want a reason. They want to understand why they have to do something. But many a times it is always good for us if we just know for now, yes, these are the truths I have to believe, and I have to start off with the premises of faith, and over a period of time it will dawn upon me why these truths are the real truths of life. Most of our shastras, most of our ancient literature are so vast, they just give you the rules of life and how you have to make use of them. So you have to just believe them and see if you can adopt them, and if you think you can adopt them, you just have to follow them blindly. There is always a contest saying is there a God? Prove me there is a God, then I will pray to God. But the real fact is, once you start believing and then following, only then you will realize God. Very similar to that, many of the truths, it is difficult to explain or difficult to realize initially, but then once we retain our faith in it, then we can go ahead and find some value out of it for our lives. So this Art of War has about 13 chapters, and the first 5 chapters I will give you just the titles of the first 5 chapters for today. Laying plans. The first chapter of the Art of War starts off with the chapter called laying of plans. So it's very clear, for any activity it is important that we do some amount of planning. Second chapter, waging the war, which means once a plan is done, you need to do the execution. So waging the war is nothing but the execution. Now what to execute, how to execute, what all things to take care of while executing a plan, all of these things will come in detail in future episodes. But for now, you need to understand the first chapter talks of, or the whole book begins with planning. So any of your trading activities, do you have a plan in place? That is the first thing you need to, whatever is the plan, whether it is right or wrong, whether it has to be fine tuned, whether it is very crude or very sophisticated, all of those things will come later. But the first thing is you need to understand, you need to have a plan in place. That is the first thing. Second thing, execution is also very, very important. That is waging of war. The third chapter talks of attack by stratagem, which means like, attack by strategies, which means like, here they get into the details of, now that you have to wage the war, what are all the strategies that you need to deploy. So that is very important, that what strategies do you deploy for your trading activities. That is the third chapter. And the fourth one, tactical dispositions. Strategy is at a macro level, tactical dispositions are at your micro level. So within the overall broad strategy, what are all the micro tactical aspects that you need to keep in mind while doing your trading or any activity for that matter. So these things, like, if you see, are very important for any job or any work, any activity that you are doing. Planning, execution, details about the strategy that you will deploy, what are all the tactical dispositions that you need to keep in mind while deploying this particular strategy. And the fifth one is energy. You need to have complete faith and energy deployed into that. You cannot go with half-hearted attempt. So that's very, very important. That comes, detailed discussion is there on that aspect of energy. So what you need to do, how you have to deploy your energy. It also means the resources. What are all the resources that are required? What kind of faith you need to have? What kind of, like, full-fledged surrendering of yourself for that activity is required. All of those things come as part of your energy. So these are the first 5 chapters. Planning, which is like, your trading plan in trading activities. Waging of war, which is nothing but execution of your trading activities. Third one, the strategy. The fourth one, the tactical aspects of your strategy. And the fifth one is the energy, also meaning resources. What are all the resources that you need to keep in mind for this? So let us stop this discussion here for now. We will again continue the discussion tomorrow. Until then, Om Swasti.